we're going to get started on our bellies. So just come to lay down on your belly. Make sure the strap is somewhere close by to start and that you've got a fair bit of room on either side of your mat. Stack your palms face down and then just let your forehead rest on the top or the back of your top hand. So splayed out, elbows out wide, legs out wide, laying on your belly in a prone position. Nice. Start to slow down your breathing, really noticing the rise and fall of your belly. And then what we're going to do is move into a prone tree. So you can slowly press yourself up onto your forearms. And then you're going to bring your right knee up. Press your palms in, slide your left arm under your right. So right knee is up, and now your left hand is palm face down on the right side of your mat. Rest your head down. Start to lift up your right hand, and then let it drop behind you. So you might notice that your knee will draw off of the mat, your left knee, that's fine. And your right shoulder might not come all the way down. But you have the entire left side of your body, left leg long, extended on the mat. Close your eyes, let your right leg draw as high up or as low down as you need, and that's that bent knee. And if you draw it farther up, it's going to stretch more into your low back. Let your right hand be heavy, gently drawing your shoulder open. And then take 3 breaths. Inhale. And exhale. Next time, inhale. And exhale. Slowly to come out, you'll begin by lifting your right arm up, bringing it down, planting the palm onto the ground, pressing into that palm to slide your left hand back through. And then extend your right leg long, coming back into your Sphinx position. Extend your feet, press your palms down, reach your chest through. Breathe in and breathe out. And inhale and exhale. Move your gaze down. Begin to lift your left knee up to the left side of your mat. So it's like a tree position, but on your belly. And then press your left palm into the mat to lift your left elbow up. Take your right hand, slide it underneath. Extend your right arm over to the left side of the mat. Palm down, settle yourself down, and then that palm can flip up. Lift and extend your left arm up. And then as you exhale, slowly drop the left arm over, opening your chest up towards the sky or the ceiling. You can walk your right elbow, right shoulder a little bit more over to get deeper opening in your chest. And then you can make adjustments as you need to with how high the knee is on the left side. Continue to breathe in and out, closing your eyes, feeling as though there's a gentle pressure down on that left shoulder, opening your chest and feeling a stretch all the way down into your pectoral muscles on that left side. So your clavicle is nice and long, there's no constriction. And the top of that left lung is really easy to fill with air as you breathe in and out. Inhale and exhale. And take an inhale. And then as you exhale, start to lift the left arm up and around, pressing the left palm down into the mat to slide your right arm back through. Come to a Sphinx position. Extend both of your legs long. Press them down. Press your palms down into the mat. Lift your chest through. Hips stay rooted and grounded down. Extend your chest. Feel that openness from collarbone to collarbone. All right, and then from here, you're gonna scooch over to one side of the mat and just roll onto your back and find your strap. So we're gonna pull that in right away. Then audio levels are good. Yeah, okay, cool. Good. Thank you, everyone. Okay. So this next series of slow opening postures are going to be really helpful for opening up our hamstring and also all around this femur head connection into our hips. So this kind of openness, like you can just bring one leg up and make circles, is going to be really important in those binds. And then once we start to get a little bit more balance too. So if you did that with one leg, let's just do that. Some knee circles right here. Notice too if there's any like kind of crinks or almost little ridges that you're rolling over as you make these rotations. And then set that leg down. Come to the first leg. So for me, I'm working on the left side. Draw that knee in. And then you're going to take your strap or your belt and bring the middle of that across the very bottom of your foot. So you want it to be right in, nestled in on the high part of your arch. And then lift your leg straight up, perpendicular, or if it can't get perpendicular, it can be out in front of you to start. You're going to grab both sides of the strap with either hand and to start, just pull straight down. So you feel an anchoring of your femur head into the hip socket. I reference that a lot. So, when you press through your foot, you're pressing into that strap, but then there's a pull down. So you feel the start and you feel where you're extending from and to. Inhale. Exhale, start to pull your toes a little bit higher overhead. Now be very gentle because we haven't done a lot of work to warm up our hamstrings. Just kind of seeing where they are, needing to slowly open and really breathing into the back of our leg. If this is a lot, you can always take that right leg or the opposite leg, bend your knee and press that foot into the mat. That'll also help alleviate if there's any kind of tweakiness or tension in your low back when we're doing this work. So again, foot down or foot extended, and then begin to gently draw that leg a little bit more overhead. All right, you're going to reach up now with your left hand. So same side as this leg. Choke up as high as you can on that strap. Bring your right hand to your right hip, anchoring that side down, and then begin to drop that leg out to the side. So at first, you want to keep it as high up in line with your shoulder as you can. And then If this is pretty intense and you'd like to let that leg rest down on the ground, then just let the strap slip a little bit from that leg and rest that leg down. If you want to keep the intensity, then maybe that leg comes to hover. And if you feel your right side, the opposite side, starting to lift up, you can keep right hand rooted down or extend your right palm out to the side. So this is the same posture as what we did a couple weeks ago, Utthita Hasta Pada Dvijasana, or finger to big toe, or one hand to big toe pose, but just lying on our back with the help of the strap. You feel an opening in your hamstring. And then imagine as though you were actually standing on the floor here, and see if you can press through your right foot. You might feel a little activation across the top of that hip. And you'll feel an activation in that right leg. And it'll also keep you a little bit more grounded on the mat if that's one side was starting to lift. On your next inhale, slowly bring that left leg up. Switch hands, reach up with the right leg. And then you're going to take your left thumb, so same side as the lifted leg, and grab it in, really nestle it into that hip crease. Pull that hip crease down towards the extended leg, and then just drop that leg just past midline. So it's kind of like it's lining up with this right shoulder. Keep pressing through that leg and you'll get a nice stretch now on the outside of your leg, your hamstring, which is always hard to get to unless you are a good roller. Roll out that fascia belt, which is a good habit to get into, but a hard one to keep. Keep drawing that left hip forward and down. Another deep breath in and out. Slowly bring that foot back up to center. Bend your knee, remove the strap, give it a gentle squeeze, compress it down to the left side rib, and then slowly extend the left leg long. All right, gently pull the right knee in, give it a gentle squeeze and compression on the right side. And then taking your strap in the middle, loop it around the very bottom of your right foot, so that strap belt nestles into the high part of your arch, and then press that foot straight up to the ceiling. And if your hamstring's like, ugh, too much, bend that left leg and press your left foot down. And it can be even just a real gentle bend if you're like, oh, I just want a little bit of something. Hamstrings are one of the easiest muscles to overstretch. We have a large nerve, sciatic nerve, that comes out of the bottom of our spine and then runs all the way down the back of our leg, which, you know, can sometimes bring a lot of pain. So we want to make sure that we're really conscious of that. All right, and then both sides of the strap in either hand. Flex your foot. Press through your foot, even if it's at an angle. Press out. Flex those toes back, and then begin to pull both sides of the strap down. Now you want to make sure that your strap is long enough so that your shoulders are rooted on the mat. You're not lifting up so high that it's a little bit of an ab work. Instead, we really want to focus on just the legs right now. Keep the support underneath your entire spine and under your head. Keep pressing through that right foot up and anchor your right hip down. And it should feel really stabilizing all the way across the bottom of your low back. And getting into that root chakra right at the base of our spine. All right. And this is why it's important to have room on both sides. So maybe adjust yourself here. We'll start to pull the strap gently to get a little bit deeper into our hamstring. Maybe toes start to come beyond 90. Breathe into the hamstring. So in Chinese medicine, the hamstring is actually referred to as the lung of the body. So you can imagine like you just have a lung right there and that real meaty part of your hamstring right in the middle. And just inflate it with air. And then exhale. All right, and then using up that room, you're going to take your right hand, choke up as high as you can to your foot. Grab both sides of the strap and then drop the right leg out to the right side. Use your left arm to anchor your left hip, or you can extend the left arm out to the left side. So again, you can, make it maybe a little bit easier, loosening up on that strap so that your foot can come down, or if you want a deeper inner groin stretch, then try and keep it nice and tight. And we're in that Utthita Hasta Patagonia pose. So one hand to big toe pose. And so if you've noticed that this left extended leg has gotten a little bit loose, maybe even that toe, that big toe is dropping in towards the middle, then start to actively press through your left foot as though you were standing on the ground. And notice how that activation starts to line all the way up your body. And the pose might start to feel a little bit different, a little less sloppy, a little bit more intentional. Take another deep inhale and exhale. And then with your next inhale, start to guide that right foot back up. Switch hands, getting both sides with the left hand, and then using your right thumb, nestle it into your right hip crease. Start to pull your right hip down and forward. So away from your shoulders and then grounding it down into the mat. Press through the right foot and then let it drop just past midline. So we're not going all the way over into a supine, or we're really prone here, but the tree pose that we did on the ground is the same stretch. It's the same twist if you were to let your leg drop all the way over. So instead here, we really want to focus on stretching the outside of the leg here. That IT band, it'll connect right on the outside of your knee to the outside of your hip. And that's where you might notice this gentle, or maybe for some people, pretty intense stretch. So if you feel like this pulling almost on the outside of your knee, that's one of the connection points. All right, and then slowly release, come back up, bend your knee, remove the strap, give it a gentle squeeze down. And then bring your left knee in. Squeeze both of your knees and then draw them out to the side. So they're by your side ribs. Reach your hands up, reach your feet up, capture the outside of your feet, moving into a happy baby pose. And we want to make sure that we're not curling our hips up here. See if you can instead imagine as though there's a weight in your hips and it stays rooted down. If it's too hard to grab your feet, you can always use the strap here. Bring it across the bottom of both feet. Grab the strap on either side with your hand and pull down that way. Straps are really great for essentially becoming an extension of our arms when our arms feel too short to wrap around something. Pull down, keep activating your feet, press them up. And as you press them up, you might notice it's a little bit easier to lower your low back down, your sacrum to the mat. All right, and then release. Bring your hands behind your knees and gently roll back and forth. You can keep your knees wide here. Tap your toes down, roll back. Tap your toes down, roll back. Tap your toes down, roll back, and then this time, use your hands to slowly make your way all the way into a forward fold. Keep your feet hip-width distance apart, maybe even wider. Actually, yeah, everybody, let's just go as wide as our mat here. Bring the outside edge of your feet to the outside edges of your mat. Grab opposite elbow and let your head drape down. Keep a gentle bend in your knees so that you can press through your feet. Get your hips a little bit higher, but not overextend those hamstrings just yet. And then release your hands down to the mat. Heel toe your feet back in, hip width distance apart. Then inhale, press into your shins, lift up halfway. Pull your shoulder heads back so that you have a nice straight spine parallel to the floor. Inhale, exhale, fold. Reach your arms out wide, press through your feet. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. And then exhale, bring your hands down to heart center. All right, press through your feet here. See if you can stack your hips a little bit farther back so they line up with your heels. And then your shoulders a little bit farther back. And then draw the back of your head a little bit farther back. So everything starts to stack up. We start to undo the hunch of the day. Driving or biking or working at our computer, and we start to bring ourselves a little bit more upright, stacking the structure of our body. Drop your hands down. Inhale, reach your arms up. And then exhale, fold. Plant your hands on the ground, step your feet back. All right, so we're gonna move into some side planks and some side plank modifications. So I want you to gaze back at your feet and make sure that they're hip width distance apart. So there's a gap between your feet. You're gonna drop both heels to the left side. Now right away, if this is like, that's a lot, then you just bring the left knee down to the mat. Start to bring your right hand onto your right hip. Draw your left shoulder more forward so that it's over your left wrist. Breathe here. Lift your right hip up a little bit higher. Make sure your left arm is, or left palm rather, is spread and you're pushing out of your shoulder. So you're not letting yourself sag like a dolly painting, but instead keeping integration. Bring the right arm back down, come back into center. If that left knee was lifted, maybe, or was dropped rather, lift it back up. And then we'll let both heels drop to the right. Make sure your right palm is spread. Again, you can take a modification, bringing the right knee down, and then draw the left hip up, or keep the right leg strong and long. So you're on the outside edge of the right foot, inside edge of the left foot. Make sure that your shoulder is stacked over your wrist, and then start to draw that left hip up. Bring the left hand down, come back into your plank position. Inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, shift your hips back. And then slowly start to straighten, dropping your gaze down to your toes behind you. Keep your knees so that they're not completely straight, but at like a 95% straight. Let your chest start to melt a little bit between your shoulders. Keep your palms open and spread into the mat. Take an inhale, lift your hips high. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Gaze forward. Bend your knees. Inhale. Exhale all of the air out. And then step, or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. And then exhale, bring your hands down to heart center. Realign your spine, your hips, your head, making sure everything is stacked. Everything is strong. Drop your hands down, swing them wide in a circle, lift them up, and then exhale, fold. Plant your hands down to the mat and step back into plank position. Feet hip width distance apart. Exhale, drop both heels to the left side. So this is where we're going to work on something that we did last week. Coming into your side plank. Right here, again, you can modify, bringing that left knee down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to reach back for that right knee. So if you're not doing the modification and you're in your side plank, you're going to bring your right knee up, grab it with your right hand. If you're in the modification, so that left knee is down, same. And you're going to bring it forward, step it outside your left hand. So if that was really confusing, I'll show both versions again. Knee lifts, grab it on the outside, guide it forward. You're pivoting on that back foot. If you're taking the modification, left knee is down, knee comes up, guide it forward, step it down. All right, so we're gonna lower that left knee down, press the top of the left foot down, inhale, sweep both arms up, low lunge. Open your chest, and then you're gonna drop your hands back behind you. Keep your core integrated, drawing in, interlace your fingers. Again, open your chest forward. Draw your right knee forward. Exhale, let your knuckles drop down, maybe even tracing it down your left hamstring. So in this gentle back bend, you might notice that again, you let your core just kind of drop out, your ribs open up to the side. Try and keep that integration through midline. I like to think of my ribs kind of closing back in over my vital organs, and then a zipper or a stitch all the way down the middle of the core. Release your palms, bring them to frame your front foot, and then we'll start to straighten the right leg, coming into an Ardha Hanumanasana half splits. Curl your right toes up, reach your chest forward. Exhale, fold your chest down any amount. Try and keep your left knee, left hip stacked. Ground down through that right heel. And then what we're gonna do is what I like to call a tick-tock. So start to reach the right toes in towards midline. And this pivot happens actually all the way up here at the hip. So your kneecap will follow your toes, and then come back to center, and then pivot out, trying to reach that pinky towards the mat. It's probably not gonna make it all the way down there. Inhale, come back into center. Exhale, pivot. Again, I said we're really focusing on this area, this joint. There might be a little bit of ridges in your hip socket. So you might feel a little, I don't know, snag or hiccup along the way. And then also stretching to the pinky edge, you might notice that nerve down the back of your leg. You're gentle, you're not straining too hard. Back to center, draw your toes back in, and then you're gonna plant that whole foot down. So you start to feel a real nice stretch all the way across the top outside of your ankle. Your hands on either side, you can actually push a little bit forward into that stretch. Try and keep your entire right foot on the mat, and your toes are pointing about to like 10 o'clock if you were on a clock face. You're reading it analog, old school. All right, slowly lift your right toes back up, draw that right heel in, bend your right knee, plant your hands, tuck your back toes and step forward to the front of your mat, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, fold. Right, sweep your arms up. Inhale. And then exhale, thumbs down through heart center. Let your thumbs rest on your sternum and do that stack check. Heels, hips, shoulders, back of head. I also sometimes like to do this type of check with our core. So your hips, like your lunar core. And then right where your diaphragm is, right at the bottom of your ribs, solar core. And then heart, which really manipulates the upper cavity of our body, is that in line. And then palatal plane, really our voice is that in line. So usually it's jutting forward, draw it back in. All right, moving on to the second side. Inhale, arms up, and exhale, find folds. Step back into plank. Gaze down, feet are hip width distance apart. Rock forward, and then exhale, both heels to the right side. Moving into that side plank. So again, if you'd like to, you can take the modification here, bringing the right knee down to the mat. Or you can keep the right knee lifted. Start to move into the full side plank, lifting your left leg or arm up, and then lifting your left knee up. Grab for the outside of that left knee, and then start to bring it forward, pivoting on that back foot, coming into your low lunge. If you want to try that again, then just step back, side plank, taking maybe that modification. Knee up, rock forward, and then bring the right knee down. Press the top of that right foot down. Come into Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Draw the left knee forward, hips are square. Again, think about drawing your ribs in to wrap right around that solar core, right around your diaphragm, keeping everything in. And then as you keep that integration, gazing up, release your hands back. Take the opposite interlace. Press your palms together. And then draw your knuckles down. Keep drawing your left knee forward. Open your chest. Maybe lift your gaze. Got a doggy break in. Perhaps you'll stay with us for class. Again, recheck at the core, especially if you feel any pinching at your low back. That's usually a good indicator that you've let go of that balance and your core in the front is no longer doing the work. And so you're loading all of that weight of your upper body into your low back. And release your hands. Bring them down to frame the left foot, and then slowly start to straighten your left leg. Pull the left toes back so you ground down through that heel. That'll become our pivot point. Oh, do I taste good? Thank you. And then as you pull back, make sure that your knee is stacked over your hip. Inhale, and then exhale, fold any amount. Breath in and breath out. Maybe coming back to that idea of your hamstring being the lungs of your legs. I think I said body earlier, but lungs of your legs. So bringing new breath into these workhorses helps so much. All right, and then draw the left hip crease back. So you're really, again, anchoring into that hip socket. We're gonna work on that tick-tock rotation. Visual is a little bit skewed with this large dog. All right, so what you're going to do is start by rotating your big toe in. And so again, that rotation occurs all the way up here as you pivot. Hands stay down to frame around that foot for support. Inhale, come back. And then exhale, pinky toe out to the right side or the left side. So left leg is forward. Inhale, toes up. Exhale, in towards midline. So it's just going to be, maybe like 10, 20, 30 degrees of rotation. Come up and then out. Inhale. This time, exhale as you come into midline, press the whole foot down and start to press that foot forward. So you've got the entire left foot down. It's pointing to about 2 o'clock on a clock face. And then as you push forward, again, you can also lean a little bit into it and you feel a nice stretch all through those metatarsals. So all those little bones on the top of your foot. Slowly pull out, bring your toes back up. Pull your heel back, plant your foot, plant both hands down, tuck your right toe, step forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, Uttanasana, fold. Arms up, inhale, start to feel that stack. And then exhale, bring your hands down to heart center. Think about feet, lunar core, solar core, vital core, palatal plane, stack, drop your arms, inhale, reach up, and then exhale, fold. Plant your hands, step back into a plank. Inhale, exhale, drop both heels to the left, taking that modification if you want to. Reach your right arm, right knee up, stretch, and plant that right foot forward. Lower your left knee, press your left foot down. Inhale, reach up, low lunge. Exhale, bring your hands down. Tuck your back toes, step just right back into plank. Heels lift, feet hip width distance apart. Exhale, drop to the right. Lift your left hand up, lift your left knee up. Inhale, exhale, plant your left foot down. Lower your right knee down, press the top of your right foot down. Inhale, up, Anjaneyasana. Low lunge, exhale, down. Plant your feet, plant your hands, rather step back plank. Inhale, exhale, side plank. Right knee lifts, step it forward. Lower your left knee down. Inhale, up. Exhale, plant your hands down, tuck your toes, step back. Inhale, plank. Last time, exhale to the right, side plank. Left knee comes up and left foot down. Right knee down. Inhale, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, plant your hands, tuck your toes, step back into plank. And then lower your knees down to the mat. Sit back on your heels. All right, that was fun. Okay, so now we're gonna work a little bit more on our shoulders. And you have a strap or a belt. So if you have a strap and you have these fun little D-rings on the end, we're actually gonna make a loop. So if you have a strap, you'll pull the strap through both loops, split them apart, and then come back through to make a nice loop. If you're using a belt or a scarf, what you're gonna do is just tie it or loop it up so that you get a loop that is as wide as your shoulders. So if you put this in front of your chest and you fold it, again, notice if you're using a D-ring or, a belt with a buckle, it's facing out. You want your folds on either end to be shoulder width distance. So we're gonna use this in dolphin pose. And if you're using something, where you cannot get a loop this small, don't worry about it. You can still do dolphin pose without it. In fact, we usually do dolphin pose without it. So just because we have this strap handy, that is why I'm going to do this with that strap. But otherwise, I can cue you through without. In chat, just for fun, does anybody not have a strap that is this size and they want that modification? Or they don't remember how to get into dolphin? I don't see anything showing up. So, okay. So with your loop, you're going to bring it just above your elbows. So you'll see as I extend my arms forward, they're pretty parallel, but my hands are a little bit farther out. So then I'm actually going to tighten it up a little bit. Might be a little bit hard to do that with the belt. So if it's just a little bit off, don't worry about it. But essentially what you're doing is you're stabilizing your arms at shoulder width distance apart. So you might notice, especially if it's a little hot and sweaty where you are, that as we're in dolphin pose, with their forearms planted, your elbows just naturally slip out to the side. And so it takes a lot of strength to pull them back in together. What we're doing with this is we're finding that stability with this strap. And then you can work a little bit more on just opening up your shoulders versus serratus anterior, which works to draw it in. Okay, so we've got our shoulder width distance apart now, all set up for us. Palms down. So if you're doing this without a prop, then you'll just bring your forearms down, grab opposite bicep, walk your elbows in, and that's where you'll plant yourself. Palms down. And then keeping your forearms parallel, tuck your toes. And this is where it's important that the D-ring, when you put this on, is on the opposite side, because your forehead is going to touch whatever prop you're using tonight. So make sure it's not a hard surface. Then drop your head down. It'll rest, so your forehead will hit that prop and the crown of your head will stay lifted. And tuck your toes. Spread your palms, press your forearms down, and let that start to hike your hips up. So by pressing down here, you can lengthen. So by grounding, you can start to reach with your hip. Inhale, walk your toes in, and then exhale. Feel now a grounding down and a reaching through your heels and an opening through the back of your legs. Keep your palms rooted down. If you're not using the strap, then you're drawing your elbows towards each other. Then inhale, walk your toes in, find that edge, and then exhale, heels draw down. If you started to gain any tension on the back of your neck, see if you can release it. Let your head just hang down, either gravity or resting your forehead into your strap. Breathe into your upper back. Exhale out through your hamstrings. Feel the back of your legs lengthen. Again, inhale. Feel your upper back broaden, your shoulder blades pull away from your spine. And then exhale, heels down. See if you can stay for one more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Slowly bring your knees down to the mat. Walk your hands forward. Bring your knees out wide and come into child's pose. Walking your hips back so they're hovering over your heels. Letting your ribs nestle down inside of your thighs and letting your forehead relax down. And then slowly walk your hands in, come up. Take your strap and you're gonna undo that loop, making it nice and long again. Sending it off to the side. Press your hands back down, tuck your toes and lift up, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, step your left foot forward. Sweep your right foot so it's parallel with the back of your mat. Draw your left knee forward and then Open up with your right hand and then your left, Virabhadrasana 2. Keep that knee coming forward. Hips are open to the side, shoulders to the side. So I like to keep this nice square position, shoulders and hips, but also keeping my gaze in midline. Reach arms out in the opposite direction. Inhale. Exhale, reverse warrior. Getting length in the side body. Pulling the left side up away from your left hip and keeping a nice strong right leg. Inhale, come up. Exhale, extended side angle. Press through the right foot and see if you can get length all the way through your right fingertips. Draw your left knee more forward. And then reach your right arm straight up towards the ceiling. Flip thumb back towards your toes. We're going to take a half bind. So you're taking the back of your hand, pressing it into your low back, drawing your right shoulder head back. Relax your head down. If you want to and you want a little bit more oomph, you can always grab onto your waistband in the back and pull back. So that gives you a little bit more leverage. All right. And then you're going to reach down, find your strap. We're going to move into that half bind. So taking the strap into your right hand, your high hand, and especially if you have a really long strap, it can be folded in half. That's fine. So strap into hand, drop it down, dangle it like a carrot between your legs. Take the left hand, reach through your legs, and find that strap. So this first time through, we're just going into our full bind, which is where we kind of left off last class. Draw your left knee back forward. Walk your hands in towards each other. So instead of like right through the middle of your crotch, it's really right across the hamstring. Draw your right shoulder back. Gaze can be up towards the ceiling, or you can relax your neck down. Work on keeping your shoulders open, both of them. So this front one might want to draw in. You can feel yourself kind of crunch forward. See if you can keep your chest open. And so you utilize as much of that strap as you need to, as much of that length, so that you get really nice and open. All right, and then release that. Bring both hands down to frame your front foot and step your left foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg up. Exhale, step the right foot forward. Turn and pivot so the back foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Draw your right knee over your right ankle, reach your left arm up, and then draw yourself up. Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Square hips and shoulders to the side. Stretch your arms out, floating them parallel with the ground, and then draw your front knee back forward. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, reverse warrior. So I usually feel this right at the top of my hip crest. And you want to find as much side body length here as you can. So if you feel any pinch in your low back, it's typically because you're starting to rotate up towards the ceiling. That's more of like an exalted warrior position, which is usually done in a warrior 1 stance with hips square forward. So hips are to the side, move into the side body here. And inhale, come up, Virabhadrasana 2, and exhale, extended side angle. So start by, again, finding that length, outside edge of the bottom foot, grounding down all the way out through your left fingers. Using your bottom arm to keep your side body long and lifted off of your bottom thigh. And then bring your left arm up, spin it so the palm is behind you, thumbs back, and then bend your elbow, coming into a half bind. Open your left shoulder. Relax your right ear towards your right shoulder. So now getting a stretch in the side of your neck. Breath in and the breath out. And then release, come down, grab your strap and bring it in your left hand. Reposition yourself back into your warrior two. Drop your arm down so that you see both sides of the strap between your legs. Again, it's a little bit more across the meaty part of your hamstring, right in the middle. And then take that half bind. In and breath out. Slowly release, plant that strap down, pivot both hands around your right foot, step back, downward facing dog. Okay. And this last time we bring it up. Inhale, lift your left leg high. Exhale, step your left foot forward. This time, right away, bring your strap across your thigh. Pivot down. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2. Hips, shoulders. Again, I like to keep my chin in line with my chest. Inhale, exhale, reverse warrior. So this helps you feel the length on what becomes the inside side body. Then inhale up. Grab the strap with your right hand. And exhale, extended side angle. And bring that arm up, bend it, dangle that carrot between your legs, reach down with the left hand and capture, coming into that full bind. All right, here's where things start to get a little bit more tricky in terms of balance. We're moving into what's called birds of paradise or Svarga Dvijasana. You want to move your gaze to your front toes. Keep your chest nice and open. And then you can heel toe or take a big step forward so that both feet are now facing the front of your mat. So I'll do this facing towards you. And then that foot that stepped forward, so your right foot, becomes the base of this pose. Start to lift your left heel up, bend your right knee, and then slowly lift the left leg up, like you're coming into a one-legged tree pose. All right, we still have the strap. Here's where it's really important to make sure the strap is around your hamstring and not through the crotch. Otherwise, you're in a thong position right now. All right. You might want to choke up a little bit on that strap if you've got room and keep your shoulders open. The more you press this left hand into the inner left leg, the more open your shoulders become, and then the more you can press through that standing leg. Then stay here, or seeing how open those hamstrings were, begin to press through the left leg. Slowly bend the left knee, come down, remove the strap. And then if you want to see what this looks like without the strap, you can just take a knee. I'll just show you when it's a little bit tighter. You'll take your bind, fingertips will touch, step forward. So I'll do this to the side, up. And typically your arm is more up towards the inside of your knee and then leg up. This is pretty constricting, so it feels really good to do it with the strap. Right here though, when you're down, maybe try choking up a little bit more on the strap as we move on to the second side. So you'll step back, downward facing dog. Pedal your feet, take a deep breath in and exhale. Inhale, lift your right leg up. Exhale, step your right foot forward, pivot on your back. Take the strap, bring it across your front thigh, and open up Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, spread through your fingers. Keep committed in that front knee, and exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, come up. Grab that strap. Extended side angle. Bring that strap up. Rotate your hand, drop it down, pressing the back of your hand towards your glutes. Reach down, capture the strap. Choke up here as high as you can, and then open across your collarbones. Breath in, and then exhale. Drop your gaze down to your right foot. Heel to your left foot in, and then maybe take one step, maybe take several steps forward. As soon as you get forward, bend down with both knees. Try choking up a little bit more on the strap, bringing your hands a little bit closer towards each other. Lift your right heel up. Your left foot now becomes the trunk of your tree or the legs of your birds of paradise. All right, and then start with your left knee bent. Bring the right toes up off the mat, then begin to press through your left leg to come up. Keep this right leg bent to start. Open your chest. So you're gonna feel this hip pivot. So this happens again in the hip socket, your femur head, right? Keep your shoulders, chest open, and then maybe start to straighten your right leg. Inhale and exhale. One more time. Inhale and exhale. Slowly bend the right leg. Step down. Release the strap. Actually, we can use this here. We're going to keep our feet hip width distance or maybe even a little bit wider. Take the strap behind you. Grab both ends of the strap. Inhale, reach your arms up. And then exhale, let them drop forward. Letting your head release down. Give yourself a nice little shoulder stretch, nice little hamstring stretch. Breath in. And breath out. And slowly bring the strap down, set it off to the side. Hands down to the mat. Lock your feet in. All the way to touch. Lift your heels up. Bend your knees and drop your hips down over your heels. Walk your hands forward. Tense your fingers so they grip into the mat. Inhale into your upper back and then exhale without letting your hands move off of the mat. Let your heels drop down so you feel this stretch in your upper back, your shoulders, down the sides of your back. Let your chin drop into your chest. Get nice and tight. Inhale. Maybe walk your hands forward and then exhale, tip your heels back. And then swing your arms around behind you. Let them guide you down to the mat. Extend your feet long and drop slowly and down to your back. Ooh. As you let your toes drop out, notice how that movement originates all the way up in your hip sockets. Your hands drop out by your side. Inhale, gently lift your chest, pull your shoulder blades together on your back, and then release the weight of your chest back down. Breath in and out. Inhale and exhale. One more time, deep breath in and deep breath out. And slowly bend your knees, planting your feet onto the mat. Drop your knees over to one side. Gently roll onto one side. And slowly press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Bring your hands together to heart center. Be curious. Follow your bliss. Namaste.